And John Pence with us now. Hey, John. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, John. Good morning. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight and then again tomorrow at Virginia Beach. If you want to check us out down there, Scott Taylor will be there tomorrow. That's at 12 o'clock noon in Virginia Beach. But tonight, 5 p.m., he'll be there at 6. We'll be live at 5 in the Fredericksburg Trump office, 4920 South Point Parkway. John, the Democratic convention last night, I mean, let me just read one comment I got from one listener. Ready?
Right.
This is Christine in Washington, D.C. She said, is that the best they could do? The production was awful. The music was awful. The videos were awful, low grade. It was all low grade. It was painful to watch. If they cannot pull a teleconvention off, who has faith in their ability to run a country? I thought last night was entertaining because they didn't say anything. I guess Michelle Obama said she hates Trump. I didn't get anything out of it. What were your thoughts, John?
Well, in the words of the great thought leader of today's Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders, the radical ideas that he has so long fought for are now, quote, mainstream in the Democratic Party. And I think it's the tip-off of what is now a celebration by today's Democrat Party that a radical left ideology in all forms of socialism has now taken over the Democratic Party. And John, I'll give you a real example of what's happening right now. You have a very contentious Senate race between a Kennedy and a Senator, Ed Markey, in Boston and in Massachusetts. And in the Senator's, Ed's commercial, he actually poses the question that our great President Kennedy once said, ask not what your country can do, ask what you can do for your country. And he says, you know what? Now's the time that we ask, what can our country do for us? And he pushes the Green New Deal and talks about how he's championed it and written it with AOC. You know who wrote it as well with AOC? A senator from California, Kamala Harris. I mean, this paternalistic, big government, party of control is what the Democrats had on full display last night. And there's only one party and one president that's fighting for our freedoms to put America first, and that's Donald J. Trump.
I mean, really think about that ad you mentioned, that Senator Markey, right, running against Kennedy. And I guess Kennedy's running to as what? He's running as the moderate there in Massachusetts, basically?
It's just, I like to tell folks when I go to these events like I'll be today, if President Kennedy were around and looking at how America really is up for a vote in just 76 days, how our freedoms are up for a vote, I think he would be in this Republican Party, but he would ask that question a little bit differently. Ask not what America can do for you, what can you do for America? And we have been working hard as a Republican Party to reelect this president. The president is speaking directly to we the people. He's in Yuma today to talk about how his America First policies to secure the border are keeping Americans safe and making America a more secure place. He'll be down near the border wall, and this party that is standing up for our freedom, standing up for our security, prosperity, and opportunity is why we're seeing a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, John. Like today when we're in Falls Church at a field office for Asian Pacific Americans who have done a tremendous job in their community of registering new Republicans. We're going to thank them. We also are going to remind people that the road to 4 more years and the road to take back the House passes through the Commonwealth of Virginia. We got to get Scott Taylor back in Congress. We got to elect Nick and Alicia that are going to be joining us as well. And, all of the hard work of campaigning, there's no shortcuts to a great victory of campaigning, knocking doors, making phone calls. I'm happy to report, John, that we actually just passed our 80 millionth voter contact into 2020. By comparison, we only did 71 million in 2016 as a Republican Party. Folks are coming and getting involved to help this president because they see how hard he's fighting for us, for what makes our country great, no matter the criticism. And it's why we are more energized, mobilized, and enthusiastic to reelect President Trump than we've ever been as a Republican Party.
So, John Pence, how are we going to turn the corner and win this election?
We got to do the hard work. Visiting websites like TrumpVictory.com, you being able to make phone calls across the state of the Commonwealth to make sure that everyone's turning out, everyone's getting out and voting, whether early or on election day, doing that safely, but also, knocking doors. We see in the voter turnout that if you just knock a door, you leave a pamphlet, that voter, if they're a first-time voter, is 80% more likely to get out and vote for your candidate than anyone else. And so just showing up, and it's like the president's push for opening schools up safely, using data, using science, but also using common sense. Looking someone in the eye and saying, here's why this president, his pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-America policies have earned 4 more years and deserve 4 more years for the American people. You got to look, we have to do that hard work of campaigning. I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was in Ohio. I was in Florida last week. And the American people they get it. They get that we have to do the hard work of campaigning, which is the phone calls, the knocking doors, making sure that your friends, family, neighbors, fellow members of church are going to vote. We can't take any vote for granted.
John Pence with us, nephew of Vice President Pence, also senior advisor Trump Pence 2020. We're going to be with John tonight. We're going to be live from 5 to 8, special show across our network. Saxman, Sax Live at 5 is going to be with us. He'll be on 5 to 6 doing his 5 to 6 show, and then we'll be on live 6 to 8 having some fun there. And who else is going to be there? Nick Freitas is going. Rob Whitman's coming. Congressman Whitman is going to be there. Co-chair of the RNC, Tommy Hicks, good friend of mine. He's going to be there. If you want to pop by, it's at 4920 South Point Parkway in Fredericksburg. If you can't make it, no worries. Just tune in on the radio, any of our stations that we own, or you can download my free app in either Google Play or the App Store and listen to us there, and you're good to go. John Pence, so let me ask you this, John. So Republicans are knocking on doors in the tens and tens of thousands, and the Democrats are not. And we pointed this out a week ago that you just said 80% more likely to vote if you knock on a door, talk to a person, or leave a flyer. Democrats absolutely no ground game because of COVID, doesn't fit their narrative of fear, can't play college football. What type of an impact do you think this is really going to have in the battleground states?
I think this is going to mobilize a silent majority, the likes of which we've never seen. And, I was in Clearwater this past weekend, met first in the morning with Latinos for Trump Community Center in a very Hispanic area. Tons of great volunteers there. We did it in English and Spanish, a training before they went out and knocked doors. Happening at the same time was this historically large Trump boat parade, right? It's incumbent upon us at the campaign to mobilize that energy and enthusiasm that we see for this president that's putting our country first and fighting for every American by doing it. And I think a fatal error of the Democrats is just to say, you know what, we can bypass the hard work of campaigning. Maybe the universal mail-in voting is their rebuttal here, but we're not going to let that happen, and we're just going to continue to do the hard work for 4 more years for our country and for this president.
What happens with these mail-in ballots? We've now got a couple states, New Jersey being one of them, that are just mailing ballots out to everybody. If you're a registered voter, it doesn't matter if you've moved, you're not home, you're traveling. They're just mailing them out.
Right.
We already had fraud in Patterson. What type of risk do we have here with these, John Pence?
Well, we in the Republican Party, and for a long time, and all those who have fought for our democracy and our freedoms, we believe in the principle of one person, one vote. And the problem is we need to make the distinction between absentee voting, like in Florida, it's been done for years, and there's been a lot of checks on that under state law, and this change in Nevada for universal mail-in voting with less than 80 days away from a presidential election. Sending live ballots to folks that don't even request an absentee ballot is ripe for fraud, and common sense will tell you that. It's also, in Nevada, they want to count votes after Election Day. Imagine a scenario where you can actually bundle a bunch of ballots into one envelope. It doesn't need to be postmarked in Nevada. And Nevada is the one state we're all waiting for to determine the outcome of the presidential election. Common sense tells you we need to protect our right to vote, free, fair, and elections in this country, and make sure that one person, one vote. And that's why the RNC, the president, we've been very vigilant in these last-minute changes, and we're challenging them in the courts to make sure that our constitutional right to vote is protected.
Well, I hope you guys do that, because there's a lot of concern with this John Pence. No question about it that a lot of us believe now that momentum is turning towards the president. All of our internal polls in the battleground states and nationally are going up. He's leading on the economy. He's leading on law and order. He's leading on a lot of different issues. So he's coming back. But a lot of people feel that the Democrats' only hope now is to steal it.
Well, we're not going to let that happen.
Right.
And, we're going to just send a resounding victory in November. But that's incumbent upon everyone listening and friends of those listeners to make sure we get out, we do the hard work and vote. That's why I'm in Virginia today. As you mentioned, John, we're going to be together. I'll be in Falls Church, then see you down in Fredericksburg, and then headed down to Virginia Beach tomorrow, be with Scott Taylor. And it just, there are no shortcuts to the hard work of campaigning. This president works hard for us every day. It's now time we work hard for him.
All right, we're out of time for this segment. I want to thank John Pence for being with us. John, I'll see you tonight when you get there in Fredericksburg. Then I'll see you again tomorrow at noon in Virginia Beach. If you want to check out the Virginia Beach event tomorrow, that's at noon. It's at the Republican Party of Virginia Beach headquarters in Virginia Beach. You can just go to their site and look the address up tonight, 4920 South Point Parkway, 6 o'clock, Fredericksburg headquarters. I'll see you there. Hey, John, thanks for being with us, man. I'll see you tonight.
Always. Thanks. Talk to you soon.